This is episode 2 of the studio log. Last week I showed you 6 projects. I showed you the build, the revenue, the growth, and this week I'm showing you 4 more. One of these we launched last Friday and we've already got 10 users.
Nice.
I'm also going to show you how you can make motion graphics like this in Claude Code in minutes, no After Effects needed. And I cancelled my Claude Code subscription, so let me show you what I've switched to instead. I'm also going to show you the automated SEO strategy that I'm putting in place to get NSDR back to revenue. Lots of things to cover here. I'll put timestamps in the video so you can skip ahead to whatever part you find most interesting. But first off, quick update on the YouTube channel. We're nearly at 3,000 subs, so if you're watching and not subscribed just yet, help us out by subscribing to the channel. Let's jump into the first build. Okay, so ranklifts.com. I took the addictive ranked aspect of competitive video games and put it into a gym app. Punch in your lifts and get an elo, bronze, iron, gold and more, all benchmarked against your weight and height. I'll show you the trailer for it, and then I'll show you how you can make a similar thing in Claude Code, which is pretty mad. This is ranklifts.com. Punch in what you're lifting and you're going to get a rank relative to your height and weight. You climb through the ranks, have some fun with it, and the best part is easy login. You don't have to be a slave to your phone punching in every single set. So check it out at ranklifts.com. Okay, so here is the site. So again, I played way too much Valorant in my time, and that kind of competitive ranked aspect is super addictive to get you keep playing, keep grinding and getting up the leaderboard. And I've not been in the gym for a while, so my lifts aren't quite there. So what I can see here on my dashboard is my rank. So my current rank's bronze 3, and I'll put in the bottom 18% of lifters, which kind of hurts the ego quite a bit, but that's a good thing because I can see on this distribution chart how we've mapped it out. And we're using like a dots calculation, which takes your bench, squat and deadlift, and it's used in the powerlifting community. So pretty cool here to see and track progress as I go up through the ranks. And also I think this is a pretty good growth thing, like giving people a rank, it makes people curious and is a good way to get them to sign up and start using the app. What I quite like about this is that it's using the innate human kind of status and ego thing. Like I said, it doesn't feel good that I'm bronze. And instead of leveraging that to get me to play more games, to get me to just spend more time in a game, I'm trying to leverage that for good. I'm trying to leverage that to get me down the gym, get me lifting some more weights, get my protein up. And I think as well, when I think about other sports like golf or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they have these different levels so you can track your progress, see where you're at. And I think that was always a thing I wanted in the gym. So I've built it. Another thing on this is that I hate having to log every single lift after a set. So here what I've done is just a simple LLM call, but I can say in natural language after I've finished all my bench press, I did 3 sets at 60 kg for 10 reps. And it's like I'm speaking to a trainer. I'm just telling the platform what I did, and it's going to add them here without me having to manually punch in everything. So I thought that was a nice UX thing. I do think this is better as a mobile app. I've got that in progress. Maybe we'll show it on the next studio log. And of course, we're not just about building on this channel. We're about growth. We're about getting users, getting revenue. So I launched on Friday, which is probably a bad time to launch, but got a decent bit of traffic just with a bit of Twitter promoting. And if we look at users, here we go. There's our 11 users. Will be interesting to see how many are active, but again, it's a pretty good sign to get a good handful of signups with barely any promotion, with a bit of a very much an MVP app. So good sign there. And I think when you're launching a bunch of stuff, you need to look at signs like this as things to pull more energy into. Okay, that's it for rank lifts. Okay, on to the next one, rawtyping.com. This is an app I forgot to mention in the last studio log, and it's actually something that came from my 30 apps in 30 days challenge. So maybe you remember this app. It's pretty much a gamified writing app. The premise is writing's good. Everyone knows that you should be writing more. Writing is clear thinking, all that good stuff. But let's be honest, when there's so many distractions, sometimes it's hard to just sit in a doc and get your thoughts down, get your ideas down. So I built this. It says the pressure is real. Stop typing for more than 5 seconds and your words start disappearing. So we can start a timer here, begin writing, say, hey, what's going on, everyone? And you can see we've got a timer here. So if I go away to a different tab, if I check my YouTube analytics, then it's going to start deleting words one by one. So I need to come back and say, oh, let's get back to writing. And I'm quite a believer in building things that you use, because if you find a product useful, then chances are other people will. And as you can see, we've got this log here showing us when we've written, a bit like GitHub style. And yeah, to be honest, I find it super useful. I've not promoted it super hard. It's not got a bunch of traction, but in the last month, this is the analytics. So we're getting a few visitors coming through. Again, only 6 signups. So not much traction. Maybe it's just useful for me in this case. But I do also want to explore how can we take raw typing and plug in some AI, and not just plug in AI for the sake of AI, but actually maybe in that editing process, how can we take your raw input and get AI to communicate it better, help you clarify stuff, maybe ask you questions, maybe write it in different styles, different formats. I do think the meta with AI writing is you still need that raw input. So that's why I think this app is strong, because it gets it out of your brain onto paper, and then you can do whatever you want with AI. So stay tuned on that one. Amongst all the apps that I've been building, that one does stand out to me. So maybe something there, even just for myself. Okay, quick one on Name Game Strong. We spoke about it in the last episode, but if you didn't see this, it's basically the tool for finding your next .com domain name. We use Opus to brainstorm a bunch of different names, and then we go through each one and search, is the .com available? And then we show you all of them, and it's honestly a much easier way than thinking of a name, going and checking if it's available. That's archaic. So give it a shot, it's free, and let me know if you find a good name on there. What I have done is this trapdoor or fake door, I can't remember the name. Basically 100 premium.com domains for $7. Sometimes people come and they just want a good domain name. They're not bothered if it's specific to the tool they're building, just a kind of good brandable domain name. What I've done here is just put this in the top, 100 premium brandable.com domains, and I'm saying we're putting this together. And the reason I've done this is I haven't gone and actually put all these together yet. I'm just seeing, is there any interest in that? So if we come to analytics, I can see that including me, 4 people have clicked on that so far. I think I put it up the other day. So not too much interest there just yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. And I think that's a good way to test different offerings, different features or paid features, is to just put a button and see, do people click it? Traffic for this has been decent. Seems like it's got a little bit of organic coming through, maybe some word of mouth. When I talk about it, get a few more visitors come up. I think this was maybe after the first studio log. But to me, it's a really good tool. It's free, so I'm going to keep running it. It's not costing too much to run, so we'll leave that up, and hopefully we'll see that slowly get better. And if that does happen, then I can add some more features. Sometimes people find a good domain and then build a product because the domain's so good. So maybe I could like pre-package some things there where you can browse different domains, ideas, logos, all that stuff. Lots there. If you've got any ideas, let me know. So before I do an update on the bigger projects I'm working on, I've got this dashboard here. Now you may be curious, what is this dashboard show? It's the usage of ChatGPT's Codex, which is basically their Claude Code competitor. You can see I started using it a little bit around here, and recently we've ramped right up. And as I said in the intro, I've cancelled my Claude Code plan, which is a bit mad because I've been smashing Claude Code for like months and months. I used it when it first came out, and I've been like heavily promoting it ever since. If you look back at any of my videos in the last 6 months, Claude Code is probably in all of them. Yeah, bit of a mad day to be off Claude Code, to be using Codex. And as you can see here, when I start a new project with Codex, I'm not seeing that familiar Claude Code. But let me tell you why I've done that, even though it seems that Claude Code is absolutely the hype everywhere right now. So this is my take on Claude versus Codex. Claude is a mid-level employee who is impressing everyone, getting a lot of shit done. He's keen to impress and will sometimes prioritize looking like he's doing a good job over getting the job done. He wants to make everyone happy. Codex is a long-standing senior employee, the old reliable. When the mid-level rock star can't handle something, they pass it to the old dog. He takes his time. Sometimes he takes a long time, maybe an hour. But you know that when he's chugging away, he's going to nail it. It's not sexy. The street cred is a bit worse, but he is reliable. And I'll get onto it in a second, but I've been obviously working on this video editing project, which is built on Remotion. There's a lot of complex stuff going on, and Claude, just to be blunt, it couldn't handle it. It was doing a really bad job. It would try and fix stuff. Sometimes it jumps to conclusions, and I was just struggling with it. Codex, on the other hand, is fruit from this specific project has been 2, 3, 5 times better than Claude. Yeah, I'm taking the plunge. I was a bit apprehensive to go full on, so I'm on their max plan, which is $200. I will mention, if you want to try it out, the $20 plan is actually really generous if you're just on the fence. And I think they're cooking up some new stuff this week, so keep an eye on Codex. You heard it here first. But yeah, let's get on to project name Claude Cuts. And you see here I've got Claude Cuts spelled like Claudebot. The kind of premise of this project is Claude Code but for video. So I think maybe it actually could be quite a good idea to launch it as Claude Cuts, because it just cuts through the attention. People will know what it is. I might get asked politely to change that name eventually, but maybe to launch, to get a bit of traction, to get some early users. I know it's a bit growth hacky, but yeah, maybe we'll call it that. That is if we don't find a good domain on Name Game Strong. So where are we at compared to last week? I think we've made quite a bit of progress. And again, last week I showed you 6 projects. This week I've got 4 more. What is the idea here? As a reminder, building is cheap now. Building is very accessible. So what I'm trying to do is keep these satellite projects launching. Sometimes you launch them and they fly. Sometimes you launch them and they die. You don't know until you launch. And I think following your curiosity, building quickly, shipping quickly is a really good strategy. Where that strategy falls apart is if you're just throwing out all this stuff but never actually building something of quality. So that's what I'm trying to do with a couple of these projects, like this video editing project. I'm hacking away on it every week and trying to improve it and build something. And I've said this is probably like my most ambitious project yet. Lots of moving parts, even too ambitious for Claude Code, as I just mentioned. But yeah, really enjoying it. And I like this tweet from Sahil: de-sloppify once you hit product market fit. So again, when you're working on all those different things, once you hit product market fit, that famous dream destination, and then you can really build something of quality. So I'm trying to do them both in parallel. But again, important thing is, if you're working on a bunch of stuff or just one thing, make sure you're shipping, make sure you're getting it to prod. And if you're really struggling with that, maybe consider taking my 4 apps in 4 weeks cohort course I did in collaboration with Starter Story. The link's in the description, and I think that was quite a smooth promotion there. There isn't any hidden skills we go through in this course. I just show you the workflow that I use to get things up onto prod really quickly. I give you a tight scope, I give you a time deadline, and the idea is that within 4 weeks you're going to have more apps shipped to production than you may have done in the last 4 months or even last year. Link in bio for that, but let's get back to this video project. So again, we're building on top of Remotion here. So we've got our timeline down here, and as you can see, as I go through the timeline, we can see that we got our edit by text window. And what I can do is I can come here and highlight a certain bit, and then I can delete that, and it's going to delete it and make the cut in this transcript, which means instead of manually going through, I could just edit it like a doc, which makes video editing a lot easier. We've also added screen recording and video recording. It doesn't look great right now, and I don't know if recording will mess with my current recording, but you're just going to have to trust me that we got this working, and it works very nice. Codex did a very good job on that last night. And we've also got the infamous AI editor. How can we get AI in there? But there's something cool here. Obviously, I can just ask it to remove fillers, and I've got a preset prompt there. So what it's going to do is it's going to take this transcript, apply AI, and we're actually using Claude Code under the hood here. So it will churn away and then apply the edit to the transcript, and you can see all the cuts we've got here, and it's coming back with what it's got. But something maybe even cooler we can do here. Remotion launched Remotion Skills within Claude Code, which is basically instructions for AI agents to build different things with Remotion, so like programmatic video elements. So make a motion graphic intro saying hello world within a terminal with a 3D zoom. So again, a bit of a weird abstract prompt there, but it's going to use Remotion best practices, and it's going to generate this motion graphic and then drop it into the project. So let's give it a sec. So right now it's rendering the motion graphic, and let's see what it's saying here. Actually, let's just have a look. So welcome to the terminal, hello world. There we go, you can see it. I'll make it a bit bigger. So I think this is sick. And what I think is cool here is that motion graphics in videos take a long time to make. They might only be on the screen for a couple of seconds. So let's say in this transcript here, let's be honest, YouTube is shoving shorts in everyone's face. So it'd be cool if in the intro I could add a little motion graphic to that. So the idea here is that I can highlight this, or in the chat I could say, hey, for the intro, can we add a graphic showing YouTube like spamming the feed with shorts? Or if I'm saying in this video, hey, I'm going to show you 6 different things we're working on, to have that pop up as a motion graphic. So again, as you can tell, we've got a lot of ideas here, so I'm pumped about it, and I'm going to keep chugging away on this one. And maybe you're thinking, hey, you said you're going to show us the motion graphic thing, but you haven't even launched this tool. I'll show you how you can just do this literally in Claude Code. So you need to first install the Remotion skills. So if you come to skills.sh, you can come here and use this command in your terminal, and it will install the Remotion best practices, which is basically giving Claude instructions on how to create the motion graphic. So I'm going to say, generate a mad 3D motion graphic saying hello, and there's some other cool stuff you could do here, but just for this example I'll show this, and you can stitch together quite long videos here, and again you can use 11 labs and stuff. With the ranked lifts trailer, that's exactly what I did. I did the voiceover myself, but you can use 11 labs, you can add some music, and if you do this within one of your projects, you can basically ask it to use UI components in the video, which is sick, or you can just drop a screenshot in. You want to say use Remotion skills here, and I'll just quickly show you. So you can see it's loading in the skill, and yes, I am using Claude Code here. I haven't actually tried this in Codex. Okay, so here we have it. So what it does is it chugs through and then it opens it in localhost, and this is like a simple preview. So we haven't got our text there, but we have got a bit of a sweet animation, which is cool. And you can basically like vibe code your motion graphics. So you can say, hey, can we make sure there's text in there? Can we add another scene where there's a laptop screen? You can do a bunch of stuff. And as you can see how I'm taking this render and bringing it into this editor, which means you can use it in your projects really easily, which I'm pumped about. Selfishly, for my own video workflow, will make my life easier. And as I always say, if it's making my life easier, there's a good chance other people will find it useful. Okay, so on to my other bigger project is Mass AI, which is an AI SEO tool. And I'm working with a guy who runs a big SEO agency. He's ranking for a lot of big keywords. He's got some solid processes in. And basically we're taking all those processes, all those know-hows, and we're training an agent within Claude to be the operator of that, which means you could basically get a super high quality SEO agency in an agent working for your own project. It's not going to be cheap, but it will work. So again, it's still early days in the build and we're still iterating on content to make sure it's super high quality. The idea is you get this kind of content map and you can adjust some of the details and generate the article. I haven't activated generation just yet because I have open sign up. So if you want to test it, sign up and I can get in touch. Right now, our strategy piece, the actual content we suggest, is a bit of a kind of lazy AI call. We haven't added too much logic there yet. Okay, so if I come to the setup, because we need to have a bit of back and forth with users, and if you're running an SEO agency, you have to ask the client, like, hey, what's your product? Who's your ICP? What things do you want to rank for? What locations? Who are your competitors? Instead of doing that in a long form, I thought, wouldn't it be sweet if we could get an LLM to onboard people? So, hey, I'll get you on board in what's your website domain, NSDR.co. So it's going to get that. And then it's going to fill out different parts, which I think is pretty sweet. And then it will ask you different questions as you go. And again, I can connect different data tools to bring in information so it can fetch, go and get your pages, get your traffic. If you have any specific goals, feel free to share. Yeah, I want to rank in the breathwork niche. And this is an early version, but the idea here is that it will ask questions and then tailor the strategy and then go away, generate it, get all your keywords, get all your content pieces and generate you a calendar for 30, 60 or 90 days. And then it will just chug away, generating them, publishing them whilst your traffic slowly grows. So that's a quick update on the AI SEO tool, which is quite hard to say, AI SEO. Talking of SEO, last but not least, I want to show you quick SEO strategy for NSDR. And again, this is what our platform will be generating. We like to generate around 120 keywords and articles that you can go for. So this is a kind of meditation site. It was at one point doing around $1,500 a month revenue. I let it fall off, but we're trying to get it back up and running. And I launched it a couple of weeks ago and we're getting some organic traffic coming through, which is nice. The performance is slowly going up. And I think we've only got about 10 or so pieces of content here at the moment. So here is the kind of strategy that I'm thinking. And again, I'm trying to use the pieces from that AI SEO tool. I'm trying to manually do them, see what processes we can automate and all that good stuff. So we've got keywords here, different NSDR keywords, different categories. And then we've got the volume. So this is how much search volume there is for each keyword and the difficulty. Usually in SEO, you obviously want to be writing stuff that has a little bit of volume, but even if it's only got 10 or 20 searches a month, it's still worth going for, especially if you're writing it with AI. You've obviously still got to make sure it's good, but the chances of ranking there is much higher. You also want to make sure that difficulty, and again, that's a metric you can get from Ahrefs, especially with newer domains and newer projects, you want to make sure that's not too high. Otherwise, if there's a difficulty of like 80 out of 100 and you've got a new site, there's no point doing content for that. So again, the idea here is around 120 pieces of content. I'm going to try and do 1 or 2 posts a day. Again, using the writing pipeline that we have that goes in researches, it looks at competitors. It does all the manual work that an SEO writer would do. And it's producing some good quality stuff at the moment. So I'm hoping this will almost be like a case study for our tool. And as a result, it's also going to grow our other product. So it's a bit of a win-win, bit of a meta using one tool to grow another tool. Sounds good to me. And I think a product even that just helps with strategy is super valuable. Even if you use our AI SEO product just to get a strategy, get some ideas, get some keywords, get some keyword volume, difficulty data. And then if you want to go and just use your own tools or write it yourself, you can do that. So I think there's definitely some value there. As we progress on this SEO project and for NSDR, I'll be sure to show you the progress as we go. As I've mentioned, building is getting cheaper, it's getting easier. A lot of people are starting to ask questions about go-to-market, about getting users growing their apps, getting revenue. So I'd love to be doing more on that, doing experiments, showing results of different techniques, whether it's SEO, YouTube, ads, Twitter, Reddit. There's a bunch of stuff there, and I'm by no means an expert or master on any of it. So I'll be learning and I'll show you the progress as we go. So there we have it. That wraps up Studio Log episode 2. I know I went through a bunch of stuff there, and there's actually some stuff that I cut out. So we'll have to save that for next episode. If you've stuck around this far, do appreciate it. Hope you find the content useful. Any questions, let me know. I've been thinking about doing a few building live streams. I reckon that could be pretty fun. And if anyone wants some feedback on their projects, anything they're building, any ideas on growing their product, drop a comment and I'll be sure to get back with some feedback or ideas. Maybe that could even be a new segment in a future video. But yeah, until next time, all the best.